Recording in progress.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome aboard. It is Gunz. It is Gunz. It is the Gunz Show, broadcasting live from Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, used to be New York City, the greatest in the world. We'll call this the second greatest city in the world. Hopefully, y'all doing all right out there on a Wednesday. You're watching live on Twitch Music. The Gunz Show officially becoming a Twitch partner throughout the last couple months and more. Shout out to all the first-time viewers and beyond that. Of course, this also airs on Adobe Radio and The Gunz Show podcast, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. Enough of me, though, because I'm so stoked. The energy's there every time he comes on. We always, my friends, have an absolute blast. What's up? There he is. There he is. Our buddy, Andrew McMahon. Let's go. And let me ask you this, because obviously, you've been able to put out a couple songs leading up to it and more, but it obviously doesn't get old, because you would continue doing it if it got old. But does it feel different? You've been through your share of album releases throughout the years of various projects, man. I was going through the discography before. It's a lot of songs, a lot of Andrew McMahon songs out there. Is it different this time, though, man? Is each one a step, a chapter in the book?
I mean, I think, look, they're all different, and if they weren't, it would get old, like you said. Weirdly, the process of putting music out, the anxiety is still the same. The fear of gosh, you get into a hole and you just pick a lane and you start working, right? And you come out the other side, and I'd be the first to admit, it's like I try and always create fearlessly, but I'm always afraid to put things into the world, right? It's nerve-wracking. You make these things, they become a part of you, they become a part of your story, and you just want people to hear them.
It's no, and absolutely, and especially with somebody like you, who's almost like, you've been able to tell us stories, you've been able to tell us life experiences. There's we've literally grown up with you, and what's great about it, one of the coolest things that I saw, especially on when you toured Dashboard this past summer, which was so much fun, and all the homies and Juliana Theory, Top of the World, Let's Go, into Cartel, into Armor for Sleep, which was, I love the openers on that one. I love that. I had so much fun. But it was funny that, like, even people that I would go see shows with, and I think you mentioned this on stage a couple times, they're bringing their kids now. Or, like, just the next generation, and that's wild, man. Like, when you really think about it, but that's the beauty, and that's the specialness, and that's that special relationship that Andrew McMahon and music has been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for me, I think the longevity has come from just my willingness to say, hey, this is where I'm at in life right now, right? And that, where that is I got a 9-year-old kid, and I've been married for a lot of years, and I think it scared me more before, kind of making that transition, going from something corporate to Jax, and like, and covering, I think, weightier topics during Jack's Mannequin. It's like we were in high school when I started something corporate, and I think because and we sort of came up in a scene of young people writing about young people problems, and so I think there are always these worries as you kind of transition into different stages. It's like, well, how is that like relevant? Like, how do I paint that picture for everybody? Everybody's obsessed with being young, of course, we all are, right? And so diving into like weightier topics about relationships that are deeper and last longer and all those things. And then, I've been really fortunate to get to watch that turn into, like you said, like going to a show of my own, and seeing some fans that found out about me during the Wilderness Project, right? And then seeing some people who got on board in 2001 or in 2006 with Jack's Mannequin, and kind of that breadth of an audience now showing up with their kids in the crowd, or like, having to print onesies in the merch store.
Let's go.
But it's great. I mean, I'm really fortunate that I've had an audience who's been willing to sort of adapt and grow with me, and let me tell the stories that are relevant today.
You brought up, that 2001 era and beyond, and whether it was vintage vinyl, seeing you out there, and like got all sorts of different places that I was a part of, and I remember, topics or whatnot, like writing songs, like obviously, like in those early days and stuff. But I remember Mrs. Gunz was not pleased with Kavanaugh Park when you mentioned that we need to.
Because I dropped an F-bomb or what?
No, it wasn't the F-bomb. She was okay with that, interestingly enough. Where he's get high. She's not happy about getting high. I was too young to know what that meant.
Yeah, well, that was just real. I mean, that's what we were doing in high school. And for a long time after.
I was doing it about 2 years after that song came out, so it's all good.
Well, hopefully I wasn't a bad influence on you. I apologize, Mrs.
Mrs.
Gunz.
Gunz came around. It's okay, but I just thought about that right now. Yeah, so you'd be like, "You're listening to this music." God, yeah, no, she appreciated you, man. Absolutely.
I love the idea of me being the most offensive thing in your musical arsenal.
Yeah, yeah. Forget Dre and Snoop Dogg and the Chronic album and all that. We'll go with the one word that says hi.
Yeah,
Kevin,
my mom did break Snoop Dogg's first record in half, or at least throw it in the trash.
Wow.
I had to buy that album 3 times before I could really enjoy it. Yeah.
I remember specifically going to The Wall, which eventually became FYE, and Sublime was big. And I don't know what the heck, obviously I didn't know what Brad was singing about or anything like that at all, but I was just like, I love this kind of music, and like all the kids on the bus had it. It was like Sublime, Green Day, Dookie, Offspring, Smash, like maybe that early Goldfinger type stuff, and like whatever else. And I was like, well, I got to get Sublime. Everyone's talking about this thing. And I had to, so I went in and bought it, but I had to have them open it for me and put a sticker over the parental advisory, because this was before they even tried making albums without parental advisory on it. It was like, no, here you go. You know what I mean? And just so I didn't get in trouble for it. So the things we did back in the day, right?
Those were great records. I spent a lot of days sitting in the sun listening to Sublime out here in Southern California. So that's for sure.
Did you ever see Sublime? Not Sublime with Rome. Did you ever get to see Brad?
No, I never got to see them live, which I'm sad about. I mean, I think I was probably in high school. I mean, I think he had passed by the time I really started getting into them, but I could be wrong about that. I don't quote me on that, but yeah, I never had the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I tell people to do, like, is see bands and see artists. Like, they might break up, and then you're going to hate yourself for never seeing them live. So they might break up, which seems to happen more so than less these days. But
it's one of my bands. You can almost count on it. Yeah.
Yeah. If Andrew's playing a show, go see it, because you never know what can happen. Love that. And then, and the other thing is, a lot of people like Simon & Garfunkel are never going to tour. As a New York person, East Coast person, like that's Central Park, growing up on that album and stuff. Like, I never got to see Simon & Garfunkel live, man. That album, like, I will always live in regret. Paul Simon's still doing things here and there. I have no idea where Art Garfunkel is. That's a bummer. I'm never going to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on that record too. That was like one of the records that my mom and I listened to on road trips, was that Central Park album. And I just I have such strong memories associated with that album. And I've never seen them either. I got to see Petty a couple times. I've gotten to see Paul McCartney. I've seen Billy Joel a bunch. I've seen Elton, and I've seen James Taylor. But yeah, the list is still, there's a bunch I need to catch sooner than later.
And I agree with you. The Boxer, one of the greatest songs ever written by far. Love The Boxer. Let's go.
I think Paul Simon is one of the. I mean, I think he's probably the greatest lyricist in popular music of all time, and certainly one of the greatest songwriters by far.
It seems like, for those that know, but it's kind of interesting. People, obviously, Dylan's always up there with stuff, and Petty, obviously. But, like, I feel like sometimes Simon Garfunkel, or at least Paul, doesn't get nearly the credit sometimes, unless, like,
Yeah, I mean, that catalog is so deep, it's insane.
Yeah.
I got to see Dylan once. I saw Dylan at the Warfield in San Francisco. That was rad. I mean, dude, he didn't I think he stood up twice in the whole show, and I was like, you're such a boss, dude. Like, just absolutely, complete, like every melody was completely different, and it was still stunning. I mean, really beautiful, but every song was unrecognizable.
Right.
In the best way.
For many reasons, but mostly everything that encompasses Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
take your pick.
God,
I saw Dylan actually open with Tom Petty.
Really?
Yep.
Were they doing like Traveling Wilbury stuff?
They did a tour together. It was at PNC Art Center, actually. Wow. I didn't fully I was pretty young, so I didn't fully, I mean, like high school, so like we were drinking, like sneaking beers in type stuff, like, 18, 19. Yeah. But I didn't fully appreciate that until years later, seeing Dylan opening for Tom Petty, which is,
what a bill. Yeah, and I was like, I think Petty wasn't Petty Dylan's band for a little bit. I think they went out and actually backed him up for a while.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
The things that happen in music. Well, listen, for all the viewers out there, we're speaking here with our buddy Andrew McMahon. You know him from various projects throughout the years, but of course from all the hits, all the jams, and of course just all the great music. I want to talk about this because, as you mentioned, you have an album coming out in less than a month right now, which is great. So stoked on that. Song's been coming out on streaming, etc. We'll delve into some of them, but you were able to go overseas. Tour looked and reaction looked wild, man, and that leads me into this because you're about to do some really, really kind of intimate-esque shows, but jams, because then you're also doing like Bonnaroo. So you're kind of bringing it back to the roots, man. Talk to me about this, how overseas went, and the game plan on this tour. Like you're doing Rockwood in Jersey, in New York. Talk to us about all this.
I mean, I think, look, I've sort of learned over the years that I like a diverse set of venues and different approaches to playing this stuff live. So like when I was in Australia, it was just me and the piano, and I mean, those shows were magic. I hadn't been over since, God, it probably was 2018. And there's something about just being alone on a stage. It's super intense, but it's also, you have to be like so present, right? So it's like, it's a real meditation. And I mean, more so than probably any of these solo shows I've done, the crowds in Australia was like, you could hear a pin drop. But then like when it was time, people would go nuts. Like I got to deliver beers on stage, you know, like it was like just the right amount of party, but the ability to just navigate that space and tell stories. And it was beautiful. I'm really hoping to go back with the band sometime in the next year. But yeah, to launch the record, I think because so much of this music, I don't know if I'd say it's referencing my history, but I think there's a sort of eye on both the past and the future, and how to sort of look at all those years with the lens of like, now I'm 40, dude. I turned 40 in September, and I've been in this business making records for over 20 years now. And I think because I wrote the book over the course of the pandemic and kind of tied up a lot of loose ends, there was just this sense of like freedom, a way to like look at the past without judgment and without, and with a lot of forgiveness and also a lot of just appreciation for how lucky I've been to play into, in a few different projects that have done well. And so that's kind of written into these songs. And so we thought it'd be cool to go back and like, debut this stuff at Chain Reaction, which, it was one of the main venues that we played that was responsible for, drive-through finding out about something corporate back in the day. And, with all that's going on right now is, something corporate getting back together to do the We Were Young festival. I don't know. There was just a sense of like, let's go try and fit on that stage first and foremost and see if that happens. Right. If we can actually get all of our gear onto the stage at Chain Reaction. And then, but yeah, like just tie up. I think it's just like life is really coming full circle in a lot of ways for me. And I wanted to honor that moment and the music that was born of that by, doing it on a stage where I sort of came up and got discovered. And then of course, which is going to be sick. That'll just be me and the piano. It's going to be like,
which one you said, Rockwood or Bonnaroo? Which one?
Rockwood.
Rockwood. I was going to say, but yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
I don't think I've played for a New York crowd that small I can't even remember when. And so I was bummed because I pissed off so many people with the lack of availability.
The group text that I was a part of, it was quite something from people, because the people I haven't talked to in a minute were texting me like, were you able to get tickets? Freaking out, or they're just like the good or the bad freaking out. There's two ways it goes. Freaking out because they're mad, or freaking out because they're shocked they actually got tickets. But for those that are able to go, it is going to be a special thing. But you're right. You might have made some people upset.
Yeah, I don't even think I have a guest list for that night. I think,
physically, no more human bodies could get into that. Like, we are already over fire code. Like,
yeah, it should be fun. No, we are not going to be over fire code. Stay away. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun way to release the record, and then the band will click into full gear. We're going to be on the road through most of the summer, and then we'll announce a proper fall tour coming up here probably in the next month or two.
I want to delve in as you speak here. It is a new album coming out in just a couple of weeks. I want to talk to you about a couple of songs that you've already been able to put out. I love that on Instagram. Everyone go follow him, etc. Andrew McMahon here is the fact that, you know, you kind of do song stories, or you explain, you know, you've been able to tell kind of the background on certain songs, and you've been able to do some great stuff throughout the years. You know, when we weren't able to tour, you were really doing some amazing stuff, whether it was kind of just like your own sessions where you were just setting stuff up and playing the piano and kind of just like getting us by when we were all feeling mentally, emotionally depressed, down, anxiety. We all know, we all went through something for sure. But one thing that I want to ask you now is, because you just said like you're 40 or whatnot. What would I mean, dude, I know, man. I know the ups and flows, they like to call them, right? Peaks and valleys, the good and the bad, highs and lows, all that, you know. What would a 40-year-old Andrew McMahon tell himself in 2001, 2002, 2003? You know, based on everything that you know now.
I thought you were going to keep going.
No, based on everything you know now.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a firm believer that you got to make your mistakes to learn from them. I mean, this song, I just put out this song, Nobody Tells You When You're Young, which is really actually all the shit that people do tell you when you're young, that you just refuse to onboard until you actually make the mistake yourself. You know, right. I think, especially just as it relates to just being in a band and what that looks like, I think I would have, you know, I would try to tell myself to chill and not really sweat all the little things. You know, I think when you're first getting your hands dirty and you're in the business and you transition from this point of like, oh, this is me and my high school homies playing shows and it's amazing. And then all of a sudden you're signed to a record deal and there's all these people involved. And I think the inclination is just to do everything you can to hold on so tight, you know? And a lot of the stuff I think of now that like, I just let roll off my back, it was like, oh my God, can you believe that t-shirt designer? You know what I mean? It's like you obsess over every detail, and I still do in a lot of ways, but I think I would have loosened the reins a little bit and tried to be maybe just a little less intense about caring for every little inch of you know, the minutia of the business and the details of the day, or fucking chastising people for getting to stage. Well, actually, I still do that when people are late. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be just relax a little bit.
So it's almost like slow down. You move too fast. You've got to let the moment last. Feeling groovy, right? Yeah.
Bringing it full circle. I like that.
Or slow down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's interesting to hear. It's like almost like don't sweat the But you're right. When you're in the moment, and I think that's important, because no matter what it is, whether it's music or kind of life in general, it's like, guess what? A lot of what you're freaking out about these days might not really matter, and sometimes you just kind of. You know, but at the time it's so hard because you think, oh my God, I got an A- instead of an A. Like, I'm screwed. My life is over. It's like, it's okay.
That was never a problem. I worried myself too much about it.
I can only imagine.
It was more like, can we just make sure we notch into a C here so I don't get kicked out of school?
C's get degrees, man. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, we're speaking here with Andrew McMahon. I want to say this, man. One great thing about you is that, you know, there's so many, you know, whether it's like, I mean, just all, you know, the melodies, the harmonies, just like have always been something special for a fan of Andrew McMahon throughout the years. And it's just like, you know, like I'm finding the words and like and I and bruised into like, hey, give me space to like just all those jams are like, yeah, and you are not alone, like, you know, come on, man, like all of them, you know, like, oh, let's go. But I do love that I can now add the ayo ayo in skywriting. I am putting that up to that level, man. Skywriting's one of my favorite songs that you recently have released, man. I think that is a jam. I think it's so good, dude.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Well, yeah, I mean, getting to work with K-Flay on that and Tommy and Jeremy, who produced the record with me, it was kind of I think it was born out of this, like, we had developed a shorthand in the studio. We'd been working for a while, and it was like, let's shoot something brand new into this process. And yeah, we did that in like an afternoon. It was just like, yeah, Christine just showed up and we sat there. I was like fairly, I was kind of in a bit of a daze from a psychedelic journey I had taken the previous afternoon,
It
and
happens. Yeah.
sure if I was going to be able to write or work, and but also feeling very like free and in the clouds, so to speak, and man, it just came together. It was like, and really, I mean, to me, that song is about, you know, this idea of creating, right? And what we, if is it more important to make something, or is it more important that people actually hear it or see it or read it or whatever it is you're making, and I think in that moment I was like, it was just such a pure creation, right? Like we were just doing it because there was so much joy in the making, right? And that's like what skywriting is to me. It's this idea like, well, isn't that amazing that you could write something in the clouds and it disappears? And maybe some people see it, maybe they don't, but like that's still pretty bold, right? And that was, I mean, and that was the idea of the song, and yeah, it was a real joy to make it, and I'm glad you like it. That makes me happy.
There you go. And listen, I'm putting it on the, it's all those hooks, man. It's another thing that stands out. Now, of course, I didn't do my vocal warm up there, but what is one of your favorite? Yeah, I mean, I think I still held it close. Thank God I'm not in your in-ears though. Imagine if you had.
We should rig that up when we come through on a Nashville date. We'll just give you a microphone. We'll pipe you in. We'll pipe you into the system here to see what we think.
Really take things to that I'd say next octave, but I don't think I'm on 80 range at all. God help me.
Maybe I get up to a pretty high note there. You might end up a little flat, but I don't know. Maybe you got it.
Maybe, after a couple whiskeys, we're all good. We drink Screwball whiskey down here. It's peanut butter whiskey down here in Nashville.
I don't do the brown alcohol anymore. I'm pure, clear.
It's for the figure. It's for the figure.
Yeah. Just give me that tequila, and we'll call it a day.
All right. Well, we will salute for sure. But I guess as I like you're gone, dude. Like so many.
Wow, that's a deep one, man. Wow, yeah, that's wild. I haven't heard that one in a long time.
So, and of course, Gunz would be the one to bring it up. But when you listen, there's so many jams. What one, like, whether it's the live thing, like, not like, La La, like, like we know those are always going to be crowd pleasers, but what one, especially maybe on the dashboard one, like what melody were you stoked? Like, I think Bruise, there's so many elements to Bruise, especially in the breakdown part at the end, which is like, so boom, 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 like, let's go. What one are you, like, what melody do you or harmony do you most like playing live or look forward to, or that you're just like, you know what, that was damn good?
I mean, God, that's a tough one. Because we're like on the transit front, I've like had so much fun bringing I'm Ready back into the mix lately. Like that's a song that I love that tune. And I don't always look forward to it because it's got that like, well, that really,
hit that note. Oh,
it's a lot easier to hit that when it's just me and the piano and it's quiet. When there's like a full blazing band, just picking that one out of the sky is a little tricky. But that song, there's just such an energy to that song that I've been really loving, kind of bringing that back into the fold. I'm trying to think. We did a festival show this weekend in Arizona, and we brought out a couple of other things, but we did skywriting for, God, I think we'd only done it once before, and that was a blast. It was like fun getting into that jam. There's a lot. The higher ones I don't always look forward to, but I keep doing it to myself. I mean, it's like when I'm feeling it, I go high, and then I got to pay the price every time we get on stage. But when it works, it's very pleasant.
lot of sometimes you don't even need words when you're listening to an Andrew McMahon song. A lot of like just a lot of things coming, a lot of things. You know what I mean? And sometimes they end up it's like into a word somehow. So you never know what can happen. You know.
That's how you get played in the grocery stores. You know what I mean?
Hallmark stores love Andrew as we speak to Andrew McMahon here on The Gunz Show. As always, you can watch along live on Twitch Music, YouTube, as well as Spotify, Adobe Radio, The Gunz Show, and more. GUND. We're here with Andrew McMahon. New album coming out in just a couple weeks. Go listen to songs like Skywriting and more that are available now. Each one, about 6 or 7 that have been released already. I mean, you are just different. Just feels different vibes to them, and it feels, everyone that you put out, man. Like I've written you, I've texted you, I've DM'd you or whatnot. I'm just like, yo, damn. I'm like, oh, damn. And it's really cool. I think it's some of your best stuff. I'm telling you, man. I really think that what you've been able to do in like the last 6 months is some of your best stuff that we have. Not disparaging your other stuff. I'm just being real, man. I love stuff from everything, but I really am stoked on this album and these songs that have come out so far.
I saved up a lot of ammunition. I had started working in 2019, and then it just did not. Because I write from an autobiographical standpoint. It was like the idea of trying to write a record while I was sitting in my house, like waiting for the lights to come back on. There was only, you can get a song out of that, but I didn't connect with that moment. That's why I kind of spent that time writing the book instead, and sort of focusing on, doing something I wouldn't be able to do in any other scenario than one where I wasn't really allowed to go outside for a year. I mean, and
Yes.
it left this big gap between my last record and this one that was never supposed to happen. But I think I came into this like creation and getting into the studio was the most excited I've been to work in a long time, because I hadn't had that collaboration and those moments to just be with homies and make things. It had been, writing a book is such a solitary process, and it's deep and beautiful in a million ways, but like, getting to the studio with Tommy English and Jeremy Hatcher, and we just vibe. It was like you close the studio door, and it was like kids playing with like cars in their bedroom when you're like 8, just like, run over there, hit that,
Right, and just freedom. It's like free. It's like, yeah, just play. Whatever play meant, that's what you did. Yeah, you just do it. Yeah.
And I think I feel so fortunate that I still get that as a grown man, that there is that sense of play in what I do. And I think, for that reason, I just think there's a sort of sense of freedom, and there's weighty topics, but I think that they're paired with this sort of, energy and upbeat kind of production, and they're in Bedford's Productions, which I'm like super proud of.
Yeah. I cannot wait to hear this full album. You know what I mean? Dude, just the buzz that we've been able to hear so far, and just the different elements that are on it, and just hear you be able to speak about, where you're just like, yeah. And also coming out of, writing the book, which is available. You can check it out on the Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness web store and more, that's available right now, is, going from like, from the editing and just like rereading, and like, it's, believe me, from a writing standpoint, it's so hard to kind of make a book flow and get it and get the approvals and just all this stuff. From going to that into being able to then just be like, all right, music time, like complete opposite feelings,
It was also like, oh, this is actually something I know how to do. The book, every step of the way, it was like, wait, what? Like, just going through the editing process and being like, what are track changes? There's like, you have to present this in, double space, Times New Roman. I was like, oh, I was really liking, whatever, Calibri or whatever the hell it's but
Arial font. Yeah.
But yeah, so getting back into the studio after that long too, was just like, it reminded me why I love this job, and it's not that I've ever lost sight of that. I think there are times where you're just so busy and you're doing it, and it's amazing, but having that gap between, studio experiences and really fully hashing out songs and the speakers, it was like, oh yeah, like, I love this. This is why I've chosen this as my craft and my life, and it was affirming in that sense for sure.
And one thing that we'll be able to see beyond just getting the album is, of course, see Andrew McMahon on tour and various shows coming sooner than later, literally a couple weeks away from that as well. It's going to be an absolute blast for that. I know you got a rap. I do a thing called Who Wants to Be an Emo Millionaire. Can you do, we usually do 7 questions. Can I give you 3 questions?
It's like I was like raised and adopted by that scene, but have like just about zero vernacular. But I'm gonna try. I'm here for it. Like, see what I mean.
We've had a lot of people. We just had Pierce the Veil on, and I had a couple of guys from Pierce on, and they brought up when we were on the APMA red carpet, and you and I were wearing the same carpet, same outfit. Shout out to Zara, by the way.
We were wearing a carpet, though. That would be fun, too.
That would have been something. We've had a lot of people. We've had Bayside. We've had Sunset Fail. We've had Feldman on. We've had just a lot of people. A lot of them don't get them right. Early November, we've had like all sorts of people. Kellen Quinn, just all sorts of different people. So I won't make it too hard. I know you're in a rush. Let's do it. We don't have to do all 7. Here we go.
I'm all right.
Question number 1. Jack Antonoff is in a variety of bands. Can you name 2 that he was in?
Of course, that's easy. I got Steel Train, Fun, Bleachers.
Boom, 3 for 3. He'll go 3 for 3.
There you go, baby.
Let's go. Newfound Glory redid an early song. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it was the theme song to the Neverending Story. Is that what you're talking about? Wait, they redid one of their early songs?
One of their own songs, yes.
Oh, shit. I have no idea.
Okay.
Like recently?
No. Back in the day, from when they were on Newfound Glory, and it was their first single on self-titled. So this is early. It was the song. Think of old school Newfound Glory.
Oh, dude, I totally know. I can like hear it. It was on Nothing Gold Can Stay, right? Is it? Oh, God. Okay, just tell me. But yes,
well,
I know.
If I say, have I waited too long? Have
I? I know that. What's it called though? I don't know what it's called.
But we'll give you half a point. Hit or miss. It's called hit or miss.
Hit or miss. Yes. Really, but I do. Yes. I spent a lot of time with this guy. I lived in Jordan's guest room for a year once.
Did you really? I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote like a good chunk of like Me and the Moon and a lot of the North record I wrote in his house. Yeah, I was his tenant.
Here's your rent. Hey Jay, here's your rent.
Yeah, I was the stoner in the back bedroom with like hippie lighting schemes and like bringing friends in and just be like hiding in my room and eating Dairy Queen. That was like my jam.
He's playing that fucking keyboard again, like he's playing that music. Yeah.
It was pretty fun. He'd like roll in and he was like really into like toy figurines and like
totally.
Like just like all these like really expensive toys and stuff, and he'd always roll in with these shopping bags with like all these toys and be like, what the hell are you doing with that stuff? He was great. I love that dude.
I love them, and I love Newfound for sure. But listen, he won't be mad at you because you were able to sing it. It's hit or miss though, so that's good. Question number 3. I'll give you choices on this one. What is Machine Gun Kelly's first name? Is it A, Colton, B, Colson, C, Craig, or D, did he legally change it to Machine?
I'm not wading into this territory. I'll go with Colson.
That's it. You nailed it. Let's go. See? Well on your way. Fuck it. You're not. If you don't know that, you know. Colson. He's 3 for 3. Everybody on Who Wants to Be an Emo Millionaire? You'll know.
It's 2.5.
2.5. What's Matt got to do with it? Who knows? It's all good. All right, here we go. One more, and then we'll wrap up here. Name.
But what's the deal? We're only on 4.
Oh, do you want to do all 7? I thought you were in a rush.
Let's go, man. I got it. Let's do it.
Oh, perfect.
Come on now.
Perfect.
I'm gonna ride this thing to the finish.
Okay, here we go. Were you ever a Blink-182 fan?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Can you name the 3 singles from Enema of the State?
Oh, gosh.
Now talk it out to us. Think about that Enema of the State era, okay? What do you remember about it? Do you remember that was the one when Travis first came on, okay? That was all. That's when
Yeah.
they made it essentially.
Oh, so that wasn't well, like what's my name again? Was that on that record? Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh god, it was yeah, I okay. Again, or what's my age again? What's my age again?
What's my
Yeah,
age
yeah,
again?
okay, sorry. Like give me like hints. I will get there.
All three were like pretty big. I mean, this is what made Blink.
It was
Okay,
like the era, like that was like the first era, like the music videos were like
massive.
$1 billion music videos where they're on there.
TRL, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's my age again? Then they had the song of all songs that pretty much they're known for right now. Still,
That was on the first record.
that was earlier. This one, I don't know how I can. They had they had a song about like depression and stuff.
Oh, okay. How about, I'm gonna be quietly like over here looking it up. I miss you. Was that it?
That's not it.
No, that was okay. Whatever. Just hit me. Just tell me.
Adam's song,
Adam's song.
and then
That's
the other
what-
one. It's okay. I put him on the spot. It's fun though. It's trivia. That's what we really.
I mean, dude, I'm happy to be just the worst at this game. Let's just.
You've already done better than some other people.
Okay. What's the other one?
All the small things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All the small things. Yeah.
Great record. We got signed to MCA during Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, which that was a fun era to be in their orbit. Like all the I specifically remember all those bonus tracks on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, Mother's Day, and I mean some of their finest work for sure.
Fucking a second, I touch a fucking a second. The Mother's Day.
That song, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe this is how warped my mind is. I'd say like once a month, I can't get that song out of my head.
God. Well, now it's
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'll
bring this to my therapist later.
Thank you, Mark, Tom, and Travis, for for putting Mother's Day into Henry McMahon's head at least once
my
a month.
mind.
He's 3 for 4. Question number 5. Lead singer of Death Cab for Cutie is also part of another group. What is that group?
Postal Service.
Boom. There we go. He's back. Come on now. Okay. How about this? The lead singer of Dashboard Confessional is a member of another group as well. What group was that?
Oh, well, there's two, right? So the first would have been Further Seems Forever. No. Yeah, Further Seems Forever, right? And Twin Forks?
Are those your
Isn't that
final
it?
answers? Final answers?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. He's 5 for 6. Andrew McMahon coming in hot. Let's go. All right, man.
I want to be an emo millionaire.
Let's go. So we
Can I get paid? What's the prize? Come on now.
Unfortunately, because you didn't go 7 for 7. All right.
You get it out of 7.
But only a handful of people have gone 7 for 7. John from the Maine, Kellen Quinn, early November had a meltdown because they didn't get it right. Because this, my friend, is the one that a lot of people get wrong. Now, we've had people go, I asked this one person what song Paramore did on Twilight soundtrack, and they said, well, I've never listened to Paramore and I've never seen Twilight. And I was like, oh God. So you can imagine how that has happened throughout the years. But
That would be tough. I don't know what song that is either, but I do love me some more.
it is, and I've never seen I never saw the actual. Was never a big Twilight fan because I never saw Twilight. So, but it's called Decode, by the way, is the name of the song. But here we go. So,
Stephanie Myers, who wrote the Twilight book series, directed the Resolution music video.
oh really? How
Yeah.
did that come about? Wait, were you friends beforehand? Like, what was that?
No, we couldn't find a video treatment that we were stoked on, and it just happened to be that day my wife had finished Twilight and read the thank yous, and I was thanked in the book. Like I think she made playlists around each character, and I think Jack's Mannequin was on it. I was like, I hear there's a vampire novelist who likes my music. Let's ask her to do it. And everybody was like, that's like the biggest book series since like Harry Potter. And it's going to be a big movie. Like, there's no chance. I was like, well, why don't we just try? And she said yes.
Oh my God, let's go.
You can add that. You can add that to your Who Wants to Be an Emo Millionaire trivia, right? Yeah,
There.
somebody's gonna never get that.
No, I'm saying, the more you know, but that is a fantastic story there. That's wild. And I love that she said yes too. By the way, I love that she said yes.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. We made a very expensive music video.
It's part for the Twilight will do that to somebody's budget for sure. Like, yeah. Well, listen, the final question, we always ask a band about themselves. And this is an issue because nobody remembers anything about their younger years a lot of the time. All right? Nobody remembers.
So I have to, okay, you're giving me my trivia.
I'm asking you about your trivia, okay?
Right.
And this is usually why a lot of people go 6 for 7. So you're in good company because a lot of people go 6 for 7. They either do really bad, nobody really gets in the middle, or they go 6 for 7 and then they hate themselves and they walk in circles. I had Will from Cartel throwing stuff, literally threw a basketball and chucked it because he was so mad hitting it. He's like, I want a 7 for 7. I swear it's great.
If the stakes were higher and there was some real money at play, I think I would have actually done some research ahead of time.
Well, we can have you back on, man. Maybe we'll put you against somebody else. Maybe you versus Chris Carrabba. It'll be fun. It'll be you versus somebody.
Any excuse to hang out with Chris.
I love Chris. So here we go. We're
right.
bringing it back, my friend. Andrew McMahon, all the way back.
I'm ready.
To 2003.
Okay.
It was a year, 2003.
I was there.
Something Corporate was on tour. Played a variety of different shows. We'll later do the Bamboozle. And, this time you're playing different, like, Irving Plazas and stuff like that I'm seeing. The Agora, Bogarts in Cincinnati, and more, my friend.
Okay.
Do you remember what you opened with on that set?
That is an absolute comedy. Was it, okay, do you remember? So is this after North has come out, or is it before North has come out? Can you give me that or no?
Yeah, well, I can give you, it was February 2003-ish is when you started doing these sets.
Okay.
Talk it out.
Okay.
What do you think you would have done? Leaving through the windows out, obviously, already. I don't think North is out by February, but still, what do you think you would have opened?
I kind of put myself back in that mindset of like what I would have thought would have been like the right opening track for a tour back then. We only had one record out. I mean, I think we'd already banished Constantine by that point, so I don't know that we would have opened with that. Oh, you're looking at me like maybe we did it.
Oh, don't. I mean, I'm a professional on camera, so don't even. Don't
okay.
go by my.
I'm just gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Hurricane.
Is that your final answer, Andrew McMahon?
Yeah, that's I was drinking a lot those days.
I am sorry, Andrew McMahon. That did not happen. That's okay. 5 for 7. Nobody remembers anything about their past.
Yeah.
You're set.
What was it?
I Want to Save You. You did a lot.
That would have made. I even thought if the song had crossed my mind, I would have known that was the one. Okay.
It was I Want to Save You, Into Fall, into Drunk Girl, Kavanaugh Park.
Let me. Just to be clear, there is no way we played the same set every night. I really set every tour. So I was like, now I'm really suspicious of this whole thing. Where, are you on Setlist FM or something?
I'm on different ones, but I Want to Save You is the one that you had done Hurricane in the past, but for those were for like other ones. And this was like a solid one that you've done. And then
I could see us opening like with the same song most nights, but there's no way we played the same set list. I used to torture myself every night trying to write a different set list because I thought it was like that was the thing.
Right.
I still do that often, but not as often as I used to. I'm a little again, don't freak out about the small things.
Right, exactly. Of course, like this, like the leaving through the window tour that you were on. So it was a lot of times I'm looking at it. A lot of times is I Want to Save You, Into Fall, Drunk Road Kavanaugh, Punk Rock, Straw Dog, Bad Days. I Woke Up in a Car, Constantine. So you were still in the Constantine phase. Hurricane, Astronaut, and If You See Jordan. Now you did switch up Jordan and Punk Rock Princess as the ending song from time to time.
Time to time.
Wow.
That's a banger. There's a lot of songs on that set list. I like those.
That's a damn throwback.
We had Juliana Theory back then. That's what I think. That's that Juliana Theory tour.
It could be. I don't see who it's with, but how about that? Although I'll give you this, you do open with a lot of the same song, which is "I Want to Save You," but the rest of it is a shit show. You were all over the place. Like you literally did make up the set almost every night. I'm looking at.
I would sit back. I would sit like backstage until we were being pulled onto stage, just like.
Oh no.
Like it was, I tortured myself. It was like, how can you make sure that you don't have any fun until you get on stage? Just shoot yourself about the set list. I just picked a thing. It could have been anything, but I was like, I have to write the perfect set list. And if it didn't go well, it was like, it's my fault. I fucked up this list, yeah.
Purposely putting yourself through that day in and as if you already didn't have enough pressure already on you. Drive through, MCA, Geffen, God knows what else. Let's just do this to ourselves every day.
How can I make my life a living hell before I go on stage every night? Yeah, that's like that actually is like a pretty good, 30,000 foot view of what I was up to those days. Yeah.
Couldn't even get the damn set list straight every night.
On tour with all your homies, you're traveling around the world. You could be out at dinner right now, but you're just sitting back, like agonizing over some shit that really it matters. But just, you can pull them out of a hat at that point. We only had one record of songs.
It's like
save one for the end that works, one for the beginning. Just mix it up. Pull out. God, I'm doing this one.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. You know what I mean? Like literally, you could have just been like, we'll just do it. Oh, Andrew McMahon, always a pleasure. Hey, 5 for 7. You're on the leaderboard. All right, you are on that leaderboard, my friend.
That's a lot better than I thought I was gonna do. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
There you go. So, and like I said, that Blink thing, if you gave it a little more thought, you're pretty much 6 for 7. So it's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
you knew them. You knew them.
I think Blink's amazing. I apologize to all the Blink fans out there for absolutely fucking that one up, but I got one. I'm happy about that.
It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's what happens. But what I can tell you for the viewers out there, check him out on tour. He will have a set list for the most part, 80%, 90% done on the upcoming tour, possibly.
I'm going to do it in the morning so I can get dinner that night, though.
Yes, there you go. And of course, we are looking forward to the new album. Comes out March 31st. It's going to be a jam. Andrew McMahon, you are not only the best, but you're a good friend throughout the years. I have so much fun at your show still. You know me, singing along, even as I did earlier today. Always a good time, man. Congrats on everything. Pick up the book, pick up all the merch, cool designs. You got all sorts of things happening, and just be the best that you can be for all the viewers and listeners out there. And listen to new Andrew McMahon music because it's coming soon, and there's already a couple songs already out for all of you. Andrew, wrapping it up. Thanks, man.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
You will.
There it is, everybody. I'll message you, man. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. But the best.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good to
dude.
see you, brother.
A lot of fun. Thanks, man. There he is, everybody.
Yeah.
It is Andrew McMahon right there. It is Gunz. It is The Gunz Show. Shout out to, of course, Twitch Music and to our Twitch Music partners out there for being a part of, once again, a live edition of The Gunz Show. Yeah.